Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Good. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you, Clement?
I'm fine. Good.
All right.
So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Well, so this is our new podcast, the new project we have in mind. In
Yeah.
this case, would you like to introduce everything to everyone?
Okay. Once again, hello everybody. So this is a new project we just started, and we're gonna be having several podcasts in which we will talk about several topics, about us, about the world, about many other things. So it's going to be an interesting conversation we would be having, and we would do this every week. As much as we have the time to we're available, we'll do this every week, and we would also like you to be part of our conversations. Maybe you will be able to listen to our podcast and perhaps you have some questions you would like to ask us or some topics you would want us to talk about. Would be glad to get your feedback also. So, by way of introduction, um, I'm Clement by name, a medical doctor, a
Nice.
writer, an author, a teacher, and a priest.
Nice.
So,
What a
yeah,
background. Yeah.
yeah. And I'm from Nigeria, but I currently reside in Ukraine.
Okay, that's nice. So I think it's my turn, right?
Yeah,
So, well, my name is Felipe. I'm from Mexico. I'm a student. I'm a teacher. And that's it. That's everything about me. And
yeah,
probably during this podcast, you are going to hear that my English is not so perfect, but that's because I'm learning it. Okay, I'm in the process. Just as a fun fact, Clement was my teacher when I started with English. So I think it's a great project, the one we have, in which we are going to
yeah,
speak about our lives, about what's going around the world. So I
yeah,
think it's a great project. I'm really happy to start this project with you. I think it's going to be amazing to hear about your opinion, about my opinion on different topics. Of
yeah,
course, now and then we're going to speak about our lives. I think it will be a great thing to express our thoughts about everything itself. I think we have different points of view. In
yeah,
this case, someone who comes from Nigeria, well, a different place, Mexico is
yeah,
completely different from Nigeria. So I think it will be great to have different perspectives from of the same thing, right? Of the same
yeah,
topic. At the same time, if people don't know this, well, Clement have written a lot of books, several books for a lot of
yeah,
people. So I think it's going to be a great experiment in this
yeah,
case to hear about someone who has a lot to say, experiences to say. And most importantly, I think that, well, you are very wise, right? So you can give me your opinion about different topics. So thank you, Clement, for this opportunity. I think it's going to be a um, great project. Probably I was a little bit repetitive, but that's the point of expressing my ideas. So Clement, what would you like to speak about, or would you like to say something? Would you like to add something to the podcast? Hmm.
yeah. So I forgot to mention while I was introducing myself that I do freelance writing also. Although I said that I'm a writer, but I didn't say the kind of writing that I do. So I write for myself and I write for other people as a freelance writer. And I started doing freelance writing in 2016. It's been 5 years now, and I have written over 30 books, within this time period. But personally, for myself, I have written books that are published already. I actually have written 7 books, but I've published 2 of them, and I have another 5 that I'm yet to publish. I
Oh my
haven't
God.
published them yet because I'm still trying to refine them, until I get the best before I publish it out there. And I have over 100 book topic that I want to write for myself. I have them, I have the titles written already with the subtitles. I just need time to build and expand on each of these books. Yes.
Oh my God, what experience. Don't you think? I think you have plenty of ideas in your head, right? 100
Yeah.
topic. That sounds like a lot of things to say. Oh my God. As I told you, we've been friends for a while. I told you that I want to write my first book.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten the inspiration to write one.
Yeah.
I remember I took this course with you, like you were teaching us how to write a book. but it was complicated, right? With
Yeah.
this, I want to say that we have this passion to write, even though I
Yeah.
haven't written anything.
Yeah.
But in this case, well, let's comment the name of this podcast. In this case, the
Yeah.
podcast is going to be writing a podcast, or
Yeah.
at least this is the podcast, the title we want to keep for a while. So why this topic? Because we really enjoy writing, right? Or
Yeah.
at least I try to. Okay, so writing a podcast. This is going to be the new the title we have now. So would you like to add anything to this about the?
Yeah. So,
Mhm.
talking about writing, I
Yeah,
think that even though you haven't published a book yet, but
yeah.
you are a writer because I have read, some of your write-ups. You some novel
Uh-huh.
that we reviewed together, and I saw how good it was, and I saw the idea that you are a very creative person. I think that very soon you would actually complete that project. I know you're going to
Okay.
get inspiration to do so. So I see you as somebody who would even perhaps write more books than I have written already. I
Oh my
think
God.
you just need the time, to focus on writing because of course, you're a teacher, you do many other things that perhaps take your time. So you've not been able to put your time together to get that book out. But I know you are very creative, and I'm sure that our listeners would probably in the future love to read your book also.
Okay.
Those creative ideas, you're going to share them with the world, very soon. That is what I believe. And for me, I have two of my books on Amazon already, like I said earlier. The first one is titled Your Potentials, the Source of Your Greatness. Your Potentials, the Source of Your Greatness. I published that book in 2017. And
Okay.
then the second one was written in 2019,
All
right? And
right.
it's titled Dreams Don't Die. People Give Up on
On
Them.
them. Oh my God, what a title! I have to say, I
Yeah.
read both of the two books. I have read
Yeah.
them already. They are incredible for people out there that they are looking forward to achieving what they want to. Well, what are you waiting for? You can read these two titles, right? I actually
Yeah.
have the title right there in my bookshelf.
Yeah.
And what a book, all right? I don't have anything else to say, but what a book, right? I was
Thank you.
impressed when I read this one. I read this one, the people don't dreams don't die,
Dreams
people
don't
give
die.
up on
Yeah.
them. Yeah, and it was incredible. I remember when I started, and I think, well, first of all, I want to make emphasis right here. When I started learning English, I was inspired because I wanted to know a different way to communicate my ideas, right? For new people who don't know me, well, I know Spanish, I know a little bit of English. I'm learning Japanese right now, which is a little bit of a challenge. But when I started learning English, it was a little bit complicated because I didn't have someone who could tell me how to do it, right? And with this platform, Italki, which is the platform in which we both work in, we started there, and I met Clement, and he taught me some things about English, and he told me one day, okay, you know what? I want you to read my book as a homework. And I was like, oh my God, this is the first time I'm going to read a book in English. And it has to be, well, my reading has to be on a teacher's book, right? So my teacher has written his own book. Now he's
Yeah.
asking me to read this book. And I was like, oh my God, this is going to be impossible. But I did it. And I have to say that it's an incredible book. I think I have like some summary. I don't know where, but I have a summary in which I express everything I say, everything you said on the book and everything. And I think it's a great title. All right. So the links are going to be in the description. If not, look for Clement or Hedegbe. Did I
Yeah.
pronounce it well? Yeah, I did it right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, and you can find those books, really great books for people who they want to do something with their lives. Now,
Yeah.
speaking about purpose, which I think is like the main topic of both of your books,
Yeah.
um, what do you think about this? Do you think it's important for someone to have a purpose in life? Do you think it's important? Why do you think it has to be like that? I would like to know your
Yeah. This is
opinion.
a this is a very interesting question. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's something I would gladly love to answer because I've had several conferences where I thought about the need to discover your purpose. So, should everybody have a purpose? The answer is that everybody already has a purpose, just that,
Okay.
they haven't discovered it yet. Not everyone has discovered what their life's purpose is. So the question should be, is it important for everybody to discover their life's purpose? And the answer, again, is yes. It's very important
Okay.
for everyone to discover his or her life's purpose. And the reason is that your life's purpose is the essence of your being, is the exact reason of your existence. So if you live your whole life without discovering the reason why you are existing in the first place, then you probably, not probably, you actually would have wasted your entire life. Because
Yeah.
there is a quote that says, when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. So when you don't
Mm.
know the purpose of a thing, you would abuse it. Now, I have a remote control here. If I didn't know the purpose of this remote control, I would abuse it. I would use it for something else, and that is
Yeah.
abuse. So it is important that you discover your purpose. Otherwise, you would abuse your whole life. You would use yourself for something else that you were not created for. So that is the reason why I think that everybody must discover their life's purpose and fulfill it, because
Okay. I think that.
that is the ultimate reason of your existence.
So you think that if someone does not do anything with his or her life, well, they're going to waste their lives, right? But
Yeah.
what about people who don't have the opportunity? For example, my case, right? I had the opportunity to discover my purpose, but outside there, we have people who don't know what to do, right? They don't know what to do. They don't have any idea of how to accomplish this purpose they have. So I think that me as a young person, I think that it's very important to discover your purpose when you're young. Because
Yeah.
if you don't do so, well, you're going to waste more time, right? You're not going to have time to plan everything. And I think that was your case when reading your book. I remember you said that you wanted to study medicine, right?
Yeah.
But it was impossible for you. Well, not
Yeah.
impossible, but it was becoming impossible for you to
Yeah.
achieve that. But you did it. So
Yeah.
do you think it's important to discover your purpose? At what age do you think it's like the perfect moment to discover who you are? Or do you think there is not like an age limit for that?
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, I'm going to start with the second question. Is there
Yeah.
an age limit? Is there a time after which you can no longer discover your purpose, or is there a time, that is already too late for you to discover your life's purpose? I would say no, there is no such time. As long
Okay.
as you are still alive, you still have breath in your nostrils, you can discover your purpose at any time. Now, there is a popular saying, I can't remember who exactly said it, that it is never too late to be what you might have been. It
Oh
is
my God.
never too late to be
Yeah.
what you might have been. So it means that if you were born, for example, to be a medical doctor, right? And you couldn't become a medical doctor as a teenager or in your early 20s, even after when you are 30 or you are 40 years of age, you can still become a medical doctor if you want to. So it is never too late to be what you would have been. For example, I would have become a medical doctor at the age of 23,
Okay.
right? But because it was, from what you read in my book, it was a difficult road. The
Okay.
road to becoming a medical doctor was a difficult one. So I had to go through a lot of hurdles and challenges that I had to even go study something else instead of medicine. I
Okay.
had to study human anatomy, right? And then I graduated from anatomy school after 4 years at the age of 23. And then I had to do like a national youth service at the age of 24. And then I had to work for 3 years. So I got into medical school at the age of
Uh,
27. At the age of
Okay.
27, I got into medical school and I left medical school at the age of 33.
Okay.
So, but I would have become a doctor at the age of 23 if I had gotten admission to study medicine after my high school, right?
Hmm.
But because it was a difficult road, I still eventually became a medical doctor at the age of 33. Now,
Okay.
even if I wanted to start medicine from the scratch again now, maybe I want to go to another school and do medicine again for another 6 years, at the age of, now I'm 35, at the age of 41, I will still become a medical doctor. So
Oh
what
my
does it
God.
mean? It means
Uh-huh.
that it is never too late to become what you might have been. So that is
Oh my God.
the second part. Now,
Okay.
there are a lot of people who discover their life's purpose very late.
Okay.
But once they discovered that life's purpose, they had to start working. They had to start doing what they were born to do, even though probably they wasted, the earlier part of their lives. But the later part of their life, they discovered their purpose and they were able to do something with their lives, right? So, but the best thing really is to discover your life's purpose when you are still very young. In
Okay.
fact, in fact, um, if it were possible for your parents to help you discover your life's purpose when you are still a very young child, maybe below 10 years of age, that is the best thing. Why? If I have two sons, for example. I have two sons. Now, let's say that my first son was born to become a footballer. Maybe that is
Okay.
his life's purpose, to play football, right? And then to become famous through football and to make a lot of money through football, to help other people, to help the world. Now, if I discover that when my son is just 3 years old, if I discover that my son was born to be a footballer at the age of 3 years, I already know what kind of school he should go to. I know what academy he should go to because I already know his purpose. So he doesn't have to go to like a regular school,
Yeah.
because the truth is most times we just go to school that has no bearing, no relationship with our life's purpose. So you go to
Okay.
school, but what you're studying in school is not connected to what you were born to do. So the best thing, if you can discover your purpose at a very early age, your education should be in line with your life's purpose, with what you were born to do. So
Okay.
I will not send my child to an engineering school, for example, when he was supposed to go to a football academy.
Okay.
You get a point. Yeah. So
Yeah, I do.
the best time is to discover your purpose is when you are still very
Mhm.
young.
It's interesting that you mentioned the educational system, right? I think
Yeah.
it's very important because when we start learning something, when we go to school, they teach us like we have to have like our real profession, right? We
Yeah.
have to become a doctor, we have to become a teacher, right? But they don't
Yeah.
teach you how to become happy, right? I
Yeah.
think that's one of the most important things we have to discuss about. Well, they have to discuss that, right?
Yeah.
For example, that's in school. I remember they didn't teach me how to teach, right? I think that's
Yeah.
how to speak. They didn't give
Yeah.
me a class of how to speak. They
Yeah.
didn't give me a class of how to save my money, right? So I
Yeah.
think it will be important if we change the point of view of the schools, right? We change
Yeah.
like the system we are using. It will be really important, and I think that's a problem we have in a lot of countries. For example, I know that in the United States they offer different opportunities,
Yeah.
scholarships for
Yeah.
people who really want to enhance their abilities. But
Yeah.
for example, in my case, countries like Mexico, countries like Ukraine, countries like Nigeria as well, they only teach you like how to go to the world, but you
Yeah.
don't know how to because it's not really your passion. So I think
Yeah.
it's very important for each one of us to discover what we like to do and take advantage of the time we have, because I think time is one of the most important things we have.
Yeah.
If you don't take advantage of your time, well, time is going to come against you because, well, imagine yourself as I was doing some years ago. I was not doing anything.
Yeah.
My time was I was just wasting my time, and then I discovered that, well, I had to do something. The best example I can give you is when my dad told me to learn English. I didn't want to. I was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
English is useless. Now I think that English has become one of the best tools I have, because
Yeah.
it's like everything in life, right? Some people, they have the ability to play piano, they have the ability to speak in public. Um, in my case, that's the ability I have, right? That I can speak a second language, not
Yeah.
fluent, not fluently, but I do, right? Uh,
Yeah.
the ability, you have to write books. Sometimes when I'm
Yeah.
having lessons with you, to tell me like, oh my god, it's just that I'm going to work overnight because I have to write like 4 books in one night.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, right? Some people would say that you're just not enjoying life. But
Yeah.
I think you, in order to enjoy life, you have to risk part of your life, right? You have
Yeah.
to really feel the sweat on your face. You really have to feel like the real effort of doing something. So I
Yeah.
have yes, no question for you. Do you
Okay.
have any regrets in life now that you are well, you have done everything you have done? Do you have any regrets in life?
No, no.
Uh,
There is none. I can't remember anything that I want to regret.
okay, but do you think if you could change something, right? Like something, for example, starting medicine before or a little bit earlier, would you think you have done more things right now? Would you think you will be a better version of Clement? Hmm.
Well, I don't think so, and I'm gonna tell you why I said so. If I had started medicine earlier, I would never, perhaps anyway, have left my
Uh-huh.
country. I would have
Yeah,
remained in Nigeria for the rest of my life. Because if I had gotten medicine in Nigeria, I wouldn't have come to Europe to study medicine. And I would have lived all my life in Nigeria, and I wouldn't get the kind of exposure that I have now. Now
oh
I
yeah,
have
yeah,
I have a better exposure because medicine brought me to Ukraine, or studying medicine late brought me to Ukraine, because it was when I couldn't get medicine in Nigeria, I had to look outside of Nigeria, and then I came over to Ukraine. And coming to Ukraine, made me come in contact with people from different parts of the world. So I
yeah,
met with Indians, Arabs, Americans, Europeans, different people. So I see the world now from a different perspective than when I
oh
was
yeah,
when I was in Nigeria. And if I hadn't left Nigeria, I probably wouldn't have met you. So it was because I
yeah,
came to Ukraine. That is why I met you, and I met all my wonderful students, around the world.
yeah,
I met them because I left Nigeria. So I do not regret, starting medicine at a later age. And I think that having done anatomy for 4 years gave me a good foundation, you
yeah,
know,
sure.
to excel in medical school, because some
Hmm.
of the things I did in medical school I already did before, in anatomy. So I, for me, I don't consider that a regret. I think that it was a divine orchestration, for me to have
Yeah.
done anatomy first in Nigeria before coming over to Ukraine. Yeah,
Oh my God. I think you mentioned something very important, and I share that thing with you. I think
yeah,
that's one of the only things we have in common. In that
yeah,
case, is that we both are teachers.
yeah,
We have students from all over the world. I think
yeah,
that experience it's amazing, right? Because I teach people from India, I teach people
yeah,
from Saudi Arabia, I teach people
yeah,
mostly from United States, and I haven't left my country yet.
yeah, yeah,
And I think that we have internet right now. It's one of those tools that we should be proud of, right?
yeah,
The person who invented internet, I don't know who he was or she was,
yeah,
right? I didn't research on this, but I think he was blessed, right?
yeah,
He gave us something that we are taking advantage of that right now.
yeah,
We are without the internet, I wouldn't have met you, all right?
yeah,
Without internet, I wouldn't be I mean I won't be making money right now, right?
yeah,
So I think internet is an incredible tool. And in my case, I think that if I had one regret now in life, is that I didn't use the internet properly before, right?
okay,
I was just wasting my time on YouTube. I was
yeah,
scrolling down on Facebook, and that was my whole life. I was not doing anything productive.
mm,
So I think that the internet is a beautiful tool. You share your books right now. You share your
yeah,
books there. I have the opportunity to teach all of my students. But now that we are speaking about teaching online, how has been your experience so far here on italki, because it's the platform we work in. On sorry,
yeah,
so you actually work on pre-apply as well.
yeah,
You give classes to some students privately. You
yeah,
teach them outside italki, outside
yeah,
pre-apply. So I would like to hear. I would like to know your opinion. Right?
yeah.
What do
Okay.
you think about this?
Yeah. So first of all, I want to go back to what you said about the beauty of the internet, and whoever invented the internet, we have to say thank you to such a person. Even if
Yeah,
the person is no longer alive, you're right. And can you imagine what would have happened if that guy never discovered his purpose, if he never discovered that he was born to invent the internet, and then he
yeah,
just lived his whole life and never invented internet? can you imagine what the world would be missing? We wouldn't have this experience that we have now if that guy who discovered the internet didn't discover the internet. So that is what happens when we fail to discover our life's purpose. We
Yeah.
deprive the world of our contribution, what we would have contributed to make the world a better place. We deprive the world of it because we didn't discover our life's purpose. So that is, one important reason why I think everybody should discover their life's purpose. Now, coming back to your question about online teaching, right? Teaching English as a second language. Now, for me, I think it's a beautiful experience. Teaching online on italki and on Preply and the private forum that I have. Well, I think that I would say that it's a privilege that I'm
Yeah,
able
exactly.
to teach on
Mhm.
those platforms because I get to meet people from different parts of the world, and I get to see people who didn't know, the basics of English. After a few months of teaching them, they are able to improve and, even speak English, as if they were native speakers.
Yeah.
And I have students from Russia, Ukraine, Poland, Brazil, Italy,
Yeah.
Mexico, France, Spain, Portugal, almost everywhere in the world. I have students. Why? Because of this online platform. If I was just teaching in a local school here, I would probably only be teaching Ukrainians or, but with
Yeah.
the internet platform, I could be in every country. I could impact people in every country. I could, teach them something even from my home, for just
Yeah.
from my computer. So I've met quite a number of students, and teaching online also exposed me to different cultures because most times I have conversational English with my students, and we talk about the culture of different countries. So when I meet you, you tell me about Mexico. If you are from France, you tell me about France. So I get to know more about almost every country just
Yeah.
because I'm teaching online and I'm teaching students from all over the world. So it's a beautiful, very beautiful experience. And of course, you earn some money also teaching
That's the
teaching
worst
online.
part.
Yeah, that's the best
Yeah.
part,
Uh,
and
that-
especially when there is a pandemic and you cannot physically go out to work.
exactly.
But with your
Right.
computer, you can still be teaching people and you'll still be earning your money, every
Yeah.
month, every day.
Yeah, you said something very important that with the pandemic we cannot go out, right?
Yeah,
I'm not even spending a single dime on
yeah,
gasoline, right?
yeah,
I'm not spending I'm not wasting my money, right? I'm just
yeah,
here in front of my computer. Sometimes I feel I'm wasting my life somehow because I'm just in front of the computer for 12 hours straight,
yeah,
and that's terrible. But I think it's a great opportunity. Nobody has. All right. I
yeah,
have some friends. I'm not going to say names, but I have some friends that they have requested me, right, to
yeah,
help them to get
yeah,
into italki. I have
yeah,
friends. I have a friend working on Preply as well, and he's doing
yeah,
well. So I
yeah,
think we are really contributing to this community of people who want to do something productive with their
yeah,
talents, because nowadays we live in a world which is interconnected, right?
yeah,
If I want to communicate with someone from, I don't know, China, now I can do it because I have the tools, right? I
yeah,
think it's one of those things I don't hate, and I won't hate, I won't ever hate, right? Because it's so amazing how it works, right? I think I think one of the best creations we have ever had is computer itself, because
yeah,
how magical this is. It's beautiful. I cannot imagine a life without a computer. And speaking about my students, it's very funny because I started to make some money, right? I started to make some money just to buy me things, right?
yeah,
But after I started working, I discovered that this was an incredible source of income. I was actually making a lot of money for someone who is my age and
yeah,
someone who, well, who doesn't have to pay electricity, doesn't have to pay
yeah,
like water and the other like domestic services.
yeah,
And it was incredible for me. Now I'm paying half my university, the price of my university, the tuitions and fees and everything. And I think it's great to have a job, right? And
yeah,
sometimes I look back at some of my friends and they are not working, right? And they say that they don't need to work. that's okay. I think they are really, they have a lot of, how can I say, they are blessed because
Yeah,
they don't have to work. But I think that this experience that I'm getting right now, and of course the money, because I think that's the best part. I had a
yeah,
student from United States and he told me something like, "Oh my God, Felipe, it's just that I cannot believe how you are so incredible with us, that you give us like a lot of materials
yeah,
and you give us everything, and that's because they are paying me, right?
yeah,
I'm actually doing something with my time. I'm not just
yeah,
giving away the material. No, I'm actually receiving like a little amount, some money I can use in the future. And I think that's great to have a job online. I think being freelancer is one of the
yeah,
best things ever, like that happened to me, while we were in pandemic, because I think the pandemic, and I would like to hear your opinion. I think the pandemic was a great opportunity for people who knew how to take advantage of it, because we have people who they got depressed as well. I did
yeah,
at some point. We have people who thought they were not going to do anything, that they were lost in life, right?
yeah.
What do you think about this? Do you think the opportunity was a great time for people who wanted to do something important? Do you think it was like a incredible? What about the pandemic? First of all, I would like to know how you did during the pandemic, like
Yeah.
about family, about liberal stuff, like everything about around it. How do you
Yeah,
feel?
good, good. Beautiful question. Now, first of all, we want to send our condolences to the families of people who lost some loved ones, because of the pandemic, as a result of the pandemic, and some people who got sick, and some people who lost their jobs, during the pandemic, and they couldn't start again. We sincerely feel their pains. And I want to say that on the other hand, that the pandemic was a blessing in disguise for some other people, because um, thanks to the pandemic, there are some new inventions, just because of the pandemic. There are businesses, that grew within the pandemic, because, for example, we're talking about online teaching right now. Online teaching platforms made more money during the pandemic, than before the pandemic. Facebook and Twitter, Instagram made more money. Zoom,
Oh
made
my
more
God,
money,
the
thanks to the
monster.
pandemic. Yeah, because
Yeah,
when the lockdown started everywhere in the world, you couldn't go to the office to have meetings, right? So all companies started downloading Zoom, the paid version of Zoom, because all meetings now have to be on Zoom. So Zoom made a
exactly.
lot of money, and a lot of people were not doing anything. They were not going to work. They were just at home, so they had to, go to Facebook to, while away their time. Some people went on Instagram. So online platforms made a lot of money. And then again, with the pandemic, you couldn't go to a restaurant to eat. So what you needed to do was to order food, yeah. And so there are some people who started delivering food to your house. They just have a bicycle and they have a park behind where they put the food. In my city, that is a whole new business right now. You know, even
Here it
even
is
though
as
there is
well.
no
Yeah.
lockdown, yeah, even though there is
Mhm.
no lockdown anymore, but people just prefer to just order the food instead of going to the restaurant. So these are opportunities that people got thanks to the pandemic. But the greatest of all is that with the pandemic, you had time to yourself. In
Exactly.
some countries, there was lockdown for 4 months, and then another 4 months, close to 8 months lockdown. People stopped going to work, they were just at home. Now you had that time to yourself. For me, that is the best thing, because when you go to work every day, you go to work in the morning, maybe 9 in the morning, and you close by 5 p.m., right? You are tired when you come back, and you basically cannot do anything. You are not productive with your personal life, with your purpose and the things you need to do. You are only going to work, go to work for your boss or something. But with the lockdown, you had all the time to yourself at home. Not everybody anyway, but most people now had the time for themselves. So if you really wanted to achieve something in life, if you had some goals and some dreams that you needed to work on, the pandemic time was the best time for you to achieve all of those goals. Self-development goals, book writing goals. You want to read some books. The pandemic was the best time for you. If you wanted to read one book every day for these 8 months, of
Oh my god.
lockdown, you would have been able to do it because you had
Yeah.
from morning till night just at home. You could get audiobooks and listen to one book every day. You would find out that you would have read, a lot of books, more than 300 books, within that 8 months if you wanted to. If you wanted to write a book, you had 8 months, you could have written one book every month because you weren't going anywhere. You were just at home. You had all the time, you know. So if you are like me, you would have been able to write 8 books, at least
Yeah.
one book in a month, right? If you wanted to learn some skills, maybe you wanted to learn programming, Python or C plus language, you would have been able to do it. If you wanted to learn a new language, like you started learning English, right? You would have been able to do it. So these are some of the blessings of the pandemic. That was why I said the pandemic is a blessing in disguise. And only those who understood the importance of time were able to take advantage of that time and make it
Yeah.
very, very productive.
Oh my god. Do you think were you prepared for this? I was not prepared. I didn't see this coming, right? I was just like enjoying life. I've told you this
Yeah.
before. And all of a sudden they told us, well, we are going to stop everything and go back home and we are just going to have classes online. And I was speaking about Zoom. It's very important you said that because I
Yeah.
remember when Zoom started, oh my God, this platform was unknown for everyone. We didn't know
Yeah.
the platform. We were like, what's Zoom, right? Like we were like,
Yeah.
oh, what am I going to download Zoom if we haven't had that before?
Yeah.
And oh my God, now I look back and I think that Zoom is one of those companies who did
Uh,
well, right? They are doing
yeah.
excellent, right? They have become one of the best companies right now. The other day I was checking some of the statistics, the stock statistics, and Zoom is a giant. They are a monster.
Yeah.
Zoom is a monster right now. So
Yeah.
I think that yeah, it's very important. It's very, very important to develop exactly to take advantage of this time, the periods of time we have. I think the pandemic was not a blessing. Well, it was not, I have to say. As you said at the very beginning, we
Uh,
send our condolences to people who lost someone they loved.
yeah.
But at the same time, it's just going to be a period of time, and this time is going to pass by, and we are going to look back and we are going to ask ourselves, did I do something productive with my time? And that
Yeah.
was once the case. I remember when the pandemic started, I was watching movies all day long. I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. But then you feel it's, like eventually you understand that you're just wasting your time,
Yeah.
that your time has some worth, you know? So you have to do something important with your time. And I think that's the most important lessons we have got from this pandemic.
Yeah.
And it's one of the best lessons, life lessons we are going to have, right? Because I think
Yeah.
this is once in a lifetime, right? I've been talking to my granddad, and he told me that, well, he never saw he never had a
Yeah.
COVID pandemic around. And so I think we are really,
Yeah.
really, we are a very important generation, your children
Yeah.
generation, my generation, your generation, because we all saw something
Yeah.
that came out of nowhere, and we are still
Yeah.
looking um, the causes of this. We are still blaming China. We are still blaming the United States. The Chinese people created the virus. We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. We
Yeah.
don't really know what happened. But we have to take advantage of the situation. That's like the advice I would like to give to people who they're out there, because I know people who they are really scared about the virus, right?
Yeah.
Uh, you don't have to be afraid of it. I got sick. It's a pretty terrible illness, but don't worry. If you take advantage of this time, you will understand, and you will feel after that you did something really important. You're not
Yeah.
going to even feel the pandemic. You're going to feel that you were actually doing something different. That's what I think. I don't know if you share my point of view on everything.
Yeah, good. I totally agree with you, and I share your point of view. The good thing is now we have different type of vaccines, against the virus, and we know how well to manage the virus. So what I would say is that go get some vaccines,
Hmm.
and protect yourself. I think that is all I
Okay.
would say.
That's it. So I think we're running out of time. This was the
Yeah.
first episode. Hopefully next week we are going to record something different. Thanks again, Clement. I think it was a great opportunity to start this project. I think we met, well, people are going to know us better after this episode.
Yeah.
And next episode, we can discuss different topics. It's not only about the pandemic. We have different topics to discuss, right? Next episode, I would like to discuss what is going around Afghanistan. I think it will be a great topic, right? We are not Americans.
Great.
Nor, well, we don't come from Afghanistan, not even from Asia. So I think we will have great points of view of everything going around this situation. So I think we can share that after, like the next lesson. Sorry, I'm getting confused between lessons and episodes. So yeah, Clement, that was everything, right? So would you like to say something? Would you like to add something before we finish?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for a beautiful conversation, and to those who listen to us and those who would see this video and this recording, take advantage of the time that you have. Think about discovering your life's purpose and go ahead to fulfill that purpose. And if you haven't had a vaccine, you can, do well to take it and protect yourself. So we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for listening.